Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer. This is Metatron speaking. If you're new to the channel, I am a channeler. I'm an intuitive. On this channel, I'll present messages from ascended masters and archangels and gods and goddesses. Sometimes I'll use like tarot cards or oracle cards for messages. Today, I'm just going to go through an experience that I had, and this is with Archangel Uriel. So this is one of, one of many archangels, but I'm aware of them. I knew they existed, but I'd never just taken the time to reach out and to channel them. So this is my experience with them, and I'll tell you what. It's kind of like how I recently reached out to Archangel Raziel. I was blown away by what came through. I was blown away by their energy. So I think for all of you, for anyone who's interested in Archangel energy and working with them or just reaching out to them, do it. It doesn't matter if you can hear them. It doesn't matter if you can feel them. It doesn't matter if you can see them. Reach out anyways, because if you reach out to them, they show up. They're going to be there no matter what. And they are just incredible energies. And so I'm going to be continuing. This is not part of like my plan of who I'm supposed to be reaching out to channel, because if you've been watching me recently, I have like a little stack of cards where I'm like, yeah, next on the list is I think it's like Kuan Yin again. So I'm gonna be channeling her. That's my next person. But I'm so interested in interacting with all the archangels, because here's the thing: when I interacted with Raziel and when I've interacted with Uriel, my reaction in my head is like, oh my God, why did I wait so long? Like I've been wasting time existing without knowing them, is what I felt like. So, okay, what I want to start off with before I get into my interactions and everything, this is an Amanda Ellis spray. And Amanda Ellis's sprays, I adore them. I have almost all of them. And I use them frequently in my energy healing work, in my spiritual work. This spray, so this is Archangel Uriel Healing and Connection spray. This is actually her, Amanda Ellis's older version of this spray, because I've had it so long that I have the older version. Check out how full this is. Do you see this? Like I've barely used it at all. And the reason is I just didn't know any better. I didn't know Uriel. And now I do. So, okay, I'm going to spray. I'm going to spray his spray. He came to me as masculine, but all archangels are male and female. Uriel, can you just come forward right now for anyone who's watching this video who is interested, who is willing to interact with you? If you could please step forward for them and allow them to feel your energy in whatever way is going to register the most for them, because everyone has different gifts and abilities. And I'll tell you what, now that I'm really taking a look at this spray, so like an orange color, it smells like burning cinnamon. If I could like describe the smell, it smells like burning cinnamon. It smells like hot cinnamony flavor. I mean, there's other parts to that scent for sure, but that's kind of the one that jumps out to me. So I'm just gonna have Archangel Uriel interact with you, and I'll tell you what, I can feel him touching, what is that, my solar plexus? Oh, sacral. He touched my sacral, but he's also with the solar plexus, so he's kind of going back and forth. And you might perceive Uriel to be feminine energy, or you might perceive Uriel to be androgynous, where it's like male and female. And there's no wrong answer. It's all right. So let me tell you how this started. So Uriel had shown up for one of my clients. So that's the only time I've done interactions, and it's really hard to explain this. But when a guide shows up for a client, I'm just like business with them. I'm like, okay, what's the message? What do you want to say? If there's something, if there's an energy they want to give to me, like an emotion, I'll relay that to the client because it's for the client. That is different for me than me taking the time to be like, okay, I would like to meet you. I would like to be introduced to you. It's a totally different experience. So Uriel had come forward for a client, and I had written down whatever I'd written down for them. And afterwards, I was like, okay, I haven't channeled you before. I want to channel you. And he comes forward visually as like this very handsome man with wings. And it's kind of funny because normally I don't get to see very much of the archangel's faces. Like I've never seen Metatron's face. I've seen the other archangels' faces kind of quickly. The only one that I have like a really good look at all the time is Michael. But the other ones, it's like sometimes they'll give me a flash of a face and then it kind of disappears. They are always incredibly, impossibly good looking people, whether they're male or female. Um, and I don't know if that's because that's exactly how they look or if that's just how they want to present to me or what. But whenever I see them, it's always they look so attractive that no one on earth has ever looked that attractive before. Like that's what they present. And I'm just like, how is this even possible? Okay. So he presents as a very handsome angel, and he presents with like light brown hair. He's youthful. They always present as being like, I'm going to say in their 20s, maybe 30 max. Like they always present young. He is smiling softly and radiating light. I ask him what he does, because here's the thing. I'm like, have you ever Googled Archangel Uriel? Uriel. Thank you. He's like, say it right. Uriel, not Uriel. Uriel. You ever Googled Archangel Uriel? Like, I don't know. Whenever you Google any of the archangels, it's like sometimes the information's correct, and a lot of times the information's just like real vague and all over the place, and it doesn't really hit home. It just doesn't resonate. And so I was asking him questions from the get-go. I was like, what color are you associated with? Because I had heard from others that he was associated with the color red. So I was like, hey, is that your color? He said, no. He said, it's more orange, but it's like an orangish red, to be honest. It's like this color where it's so orange, it's almost red. So the way we divide colors, red and orange, he's like, no, I'm kind of straddling in between there, but I'm going to call him orange because that's what it looked like to me. Um, he also, if you're interested, if you want to connect with him, especially after hearing this video, he told me that one of the crystals that holds energy like his is opal. Opals for expansion. And it could be any kind of opal. To be honest with you, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing like, I don't know what this is, boulder opal. Yeah, I mean, it could be any kind of opal, but I'm gonna look for an opal after this, to be honest, that has that energy from him so that I can have that with my crystal collection. Let me see. And so I'm asking Archangel Uriel, I'm like, so what do you do? Like, what are you the archangel over? Because, Michael is like, oh, the Archangel of Protection, and Raphael's like, oh, the Archangel of Healing. So I'm like, okay, what work do you do? And he shows me that he is the one that leaves messages in the form of signs for everyone. So if you like, if you find a feather, or you see, a bunch of ones or a bunch of fours, or if you see like a certain animal or a certain insect, or you come across anything that's like a sign from your guides, he's the one doing that. I didn't know that. That was surprising. And so I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, what else do you do? Because I just felt like you do something else. And he was being playful with me. He like leaned over to me and he went like nose to nose with me. And it's hard to explain it because he was just looking at me and he was just being very playful, almost like brotherly energy. I don't have a brother, but that's what I could explain it as. He's being playful. So this is his channeled message. I lead you by the hand, guiding you along your path, helping you to feel your connection to us. Referencing, who were you referencing? When he says your connection to us, he means your connection to your spirit guides. I'm going to go back to his message. I help you remember what your soul already knows to be true. I help you to remember that you are never alone. I help connect you with your role in this great story that is unfolding. You are not randomly wandering through life. Everything is connected, and your journey serves a purpose for the growth of your soul. You are part of the most intense, beautiful, and impactful planet in history. And you come here with much love and experience. I remind you that connecting with others, uniting together, amplifies your power and reach. No matter how far apart you may feel from your guides, we are all connected in a way that cannot be broken. Love creates a connection between people that endures and sustains forever, beyond the limitations of the body and mind. Love is everlasting, and so our love for you endures forever. I can help you to mend relationships, for those too are a connection with another soul. Relationship connections are important to your learning and growth. If you need help building friendships or business partnerships or overcoming difficulties in romantic relationships, I can help. And so at this point, I kind of pause and I'm joking with him and I say, you seem like a busy guy, because that's a lot of work right there. And he keeps going. He says, no archangel is without work. Connection to each other is part of the makeup of our souls and part of the dynamics of our universe. There is wisdom and power in uniting with each other, whether it is two people united in a partnership or millions of people united for a cause. Your connections amplify what is possible. Your connections amplify the skills and knowledge available to solve problems and to create dreams. Uniting with your spirit guides is another way to add power and dynamic energy to any project or goal. Ask us to join you in your endeavors, and we most certainly will. Anything for your greatest and highest good, we will fully support and co-create with you. So after he says this, he takes me into another energetic space. And so he takes me into this vision, and there's no ground. And so we're kind of like floating there. And I can see my hair kind of, off to the side like this, like floating around me. And so normally when I see that, that's for the realm of the gods and goddesses, which is in the 12th dimension. So I'm like trying to figure this out. And he's like, nope, that's not where we are. So he took me to the 12th dimension. He took me to the angelic realm. I have never been there before. I knew it existed. I didn't know what dimensions it was part of. He tells me that the angelic realm stretches from the 9th dimension to the 12th dimension. And so even now, when talking to you guys about this, it's emotional for me. Like I get an emotional reaction out of thinking about that space. So he doesn't, that's all he showed me. Just to be honest, that there was nothing. He showed me nothing. He took me there for a second. He let me feel it and how much I love it. And then he continued channeling. He says, let me guide you into the unseen, into dreams and memories where we are one. We are reflections of you, and you are a reflection of us. The lines of separation blur as you reach home. It does not matter what name you call me, for behind that name, I am connected to all. I am all. Place your hands on mine. And he does this. And so I put my hands up against his hands. When our hands touch, orange light comes out of his palms and goes into my palms. And so I'm going to say this, even though it drives me crazy that I keep trying to categorize, and it probably drives you guys crazy too. But when he did that, my thought was, he feels kind of like Metatron, but really, I have it backwards. Metatron kind of feels like Uriel, because Metatron is if all of the archangels were combined into one energy, that is who Metatron is. But it's funny because when I'm interacting with Uriel, I'm like, you kind of feel like the big boss. You kind of feel like Metatron. But yeah, it's the other way around. Metatron kind of feels like him. Um, okay, let me go back. Uriel is so familiar that it amazes me that I could forget him. And I wish I could give you all the feeling of that, because it is so profound and there's just no way to give it words. I gave it words, but it doesn't have the same, it doesn't hit the same way. When you interact with someone and it's like, oh, I didn't know you before, but then you feel the energy and you're like, oh my gosh, you're like my best friend that I've loved forever. And it just feels crazy that it's like, we have this connection and you can wipe that out. You can, and I actually want to get emotional just saying this to you guys, but it's insane that we love these spirit guides so much and they love us so much. And there's something so powerful that they know how to erase that before they send us here to incarnate. It's insane. Because before meeting Uriel, I would feel like, oh yeah, like I don't know you, I don't care, it's no big deal. And then once I felt his energy, it was like, oh my God, I've been missing this the whole time I've been here. Um, so this is what he said afterwards. He said, So we're still palm to palm. And he says, I will not let you go. We are always connected. You choose to connect with me, and so you choose to remember. Your connections are forever, whether you can remember them or not. And so we're sitting there, palm to palm, and his energy is like running through my body. That orange light is like running through me. And I start to have these new like emotions. And I'm like, what is this feeling I have now? And then I try to describe it. I'm like, it's like confidence and power. And then so I was trying to figure it out. I was like, are you showing me like a memory? Like, is this a memory of me being like a god or a goddess? And he's like, no. And I was like, okay, is this like a memory of me being like an angel? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, what then? And he's just looking at me and he starts smiling at me. And I was like, oh, this is how you feel. And he's like, yeah. He says, yes, but now you feel it too because you remember our connection. What ties us together is more than memories, it is energetic. Your brain remembering my energy allows an energetic connection to my energy. It is as if a cord exists between us, sharing who I am with you and sharing who you are with me. This energetic connection is always there, but now you are using it. Now you understand energetic connection, not just interpersonal connection. And so I'm watching and I can just see that orange light and it's going through like all the way down to my feet. It's like running through my body in all these different ways. It's almost like the orange light is running through my veins is what it seems like it's running through my blood. I feel rejuvenated and dynamic in a way that I have not felt before. So I'm just like sitting there and I'm just having the best time because I'm like, this is crazy. I feel like I'm you, but I still feel like I'm me, but I feel like I'm both of us. And it just makes you feel more whole, which of course is exactly what it is because we are we are all duplicates of the one energy. So, of course, we want to reconnect back with the whole, right? We always feel like we're parts or pieces that need to reunite, right? This is what drives everyone to, into relationships. We feel like we're not whole, which is a whole nother story that I won't even get into. Um, But I was having such a good time just feeling me being him kind of thing. It was cool. Um, and so I liked it so much that I said like a really human thing to him. I said, do you promise to keep this like connection open between us? Because I'm like, this feels so amazing. I don't want to lose this. I'm like, do you promise to keep this open? And he doesn't say anything. He touches my solar plexus, like not lightly, like he sticks his energy like properly into my solar plexus. And without words, I understand that that connection between him and I is mutually beneficial and that he enjoys my energy just the same way I enjoy his energy. He wants this connection as much as I do. And so Uriel says, this is how all guides feel about all of humanity. We are not burdened by our interactions with you. We long for them and we seek them out. We have a higher knowledge that we have a higher knowledge than what most carry on earth. So we value our connection to you, and we understand that it benefits us as much as it benefits you. More connection means more power to love. This is the end of his channeled messages. Some of the things he said are insane. So you would never have thought, I would never have thought that like my connection with like, let's say Metatron, my connection to Metatron benefits Metatron. I would have never thought that. So your connection with your guides benefits you and it benefits them, and they want it just as much or maybe more than you, because I think Uriel has been subtly trying to get my attention for a while now, and I'm like, nah, I'm fine, I'm good. I got Raphael. I talked to Metatron, it's fine. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I need to know who all these archangels are because I have connections with them. And many, many, many of you watching, if not all of you watching, also have these same connections. That's what draws you to this channel. So what draws you to this channel is one of two things. One, you're drawn to Metatron. You're drawn to Metatron's energy because that's who's coming out my mouth most of the time is Metatron or another archangel, which is technically part of Metatron. The other option is that you've had past lifetimes with me that you enjoyed. And so you can feel my portion of the energy. And so you're like, oh, yeah, I remember her. I like her. She's cool. Or it could be a combination of the two. But most of it, to be honest, is you remembering Metatron because that energy comes through. It's like when I'm speaking on camera, it's probably like 75%. I don't know, is that right? Yeah. It's like 75% archangel or whoever I'm channeling, and it's like, 25% of my mannerisms, my choice of words, my whatever. Because you can't avoid having that come across. That's just part of the human package. But yeah, so if you haven't considered before that you have a connection with Metatron or you have a connection with archangels, consider it. Consider it. See how that feels. A lot of times people have wounds that are blocking them from recognizing these connections. So you'll have a wound and I'll say, "Oh, you're connected to archangels." And your wound will say, "Oh, no, not us. No, we're not good enough for that. It couldn't be me. I don't deserve that." And so sometimes there's a wound like that that's lying to you, that's blocking you. So become aware of those things so that you can slide those thoughts aside and go, "You know what? Maybe I am connected to all these archangels. Maybe I am connected with Metatron. I'm going to just slide aside all these doubts, all these fears, and I'm just going to open myself up to this possibility. I'm going to call in Archangel Uriel." You don't need the spray, by the way. I do this because she does great work, and their Uriel's energy is in this, and so that it brings it forward in a very easy way. But you do not need a spray to call in a guide and start a relationship with them and start interacting with them. Um, yeah, you don't need a spray, you don't need a service. That being said, if you feel like you would like assistance with making an energetic connection to the archangels, we have an angel activation And so that activation, we do energy work on the body, and we literally connect you with that energy. In this case, Archangel Uriel's. Oh, excuse me. In I shouldn't say Archangel Uriel's. It's all the archangels. It's angelic energy. So it's the angelic realm. So it's even beyond just the archangels. It would be um, all angels, which there's so many of them, and I never talk about any of them, but more to come on that. So if you're interested in connecting with them and you want assistance to make sure you're energetically lined up, we have a service for that. But no service is a magic bullet. No service like that is like, okay, we flick the switch and now you've got like a microphone, you've got a speaker in your ear and you can hear everything they're saying and you can see them perfectly. And no, like all spiritual gifts and all relationships with all guides, you have to work on. You have to put the time in. And if you're in the mindset like I was, where you're like, oh yeah, like I don't have time. I don't have time to reach out to Archangel Uriel or whoever. Then it doesn't happen. It's just like a relationship in the physical world. If you don't have time for dating, if you don't have time to make friends, it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't work out. So you have to be willing to invest time and effort to make that connection and keep that connection. With Archangel Metatron, so I was watching like I was watching like another person on YouTube, or I was reading articles on Medium, and that's how I came across him because I'd never heard about him ever. Came across some articles or whatever, started hearing about him, and as soon as I heard about him, I was like, "Oh, I like this guy. This guy's cool." And I just felt drawn to him, and I was like, "I really want to channel him." Like one, I didn't know channeling existed. And I didn't know Archangel Metatron existed. And so when I found people who were channeling Archangel Metatron, I was like, that is the thing I want to know how to do. And so for months, every single day, I was trying to meditate. I was trying to channel. I was talking to him. I was I was doing anything I could. I was reading all the spiritual material I could. I was getting services done. I was doing anything I could to connect to him. And it happened. Um, but it's taken me years to get to where I am right now. And it took me months and months and months of really, really intense work to finally get to the point where I was like, "Ooh, I I can hear you. I'm getting a message from you. This is cool." Um, so don't give up. It can be done. It does take time. And you got to keep working at it. The only reason I can do this the way I do this is because I do this every day for hours. I don't know how many, because this is my joy. This is my livelihood. I don't know how many people out there have the ability to channel for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours a day. When I first was trying to get into this, I was doing it like 12 hours a day, maybe more. Like it was insane. So, I had to put in a lot of work to get to where I am, and I have to do a lot of work to try to maintain it, right? And it's just getting used to how things sound to you. Okay, let me see if Metatron, there is something else. If you are interested in receiving messages from your guides, this is the service that Metatron wants me to reference right now to you. So if you are interested in knowing what your guides would say to you right now, if you could hear them, if you want to know, okay, who would step forward for me? What would they say? What would they try to help me with? That's what that service is all about. So you can do messages from your guides, and that's a service without a Zoom call. If you want to do a service where you talk to me and you get messages from your guides, you'll want to do soul lessons and guides. So I'll reference both of those in this video. And the advice and information they give you is always extremely current. It is what is going on for you right now to help you move forward to the next phase of your journey. So if you're like, if you're procrastinating, or if you have like heartbreak that's holding you back, they're going to call it out. They're going to say, hey, this is the thing that needs to be worked on. This is what's going on. Okay. I think is that everything. Thank you. Archangel Uriel, color orange, orangish red, opal, any kind. You don't need the crystal to call them in. You don't need the spray to call them in. Just call them in. Just call him in. If you feel even a little bit drawn to this archangel, call him in. You will not regret it. You'll be like me and you'll be thinking, dang, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I do this sooner? Okay. This is what I have for all of you. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.